Hey guys, I'm Marta Geek. In this video, I wanted to share my personal review of the Nintendo Switch 2 a week after of usage. Yes, it came out exactly a week ago, last Thursday. Today is Thursday after that. And I've been using it a lot since then. And I wanted to share my personal review of the device so far. And is it worth getting it now or later? That's why I'm making this video. So first of all, I want to start this video with saying that I was a huge fan of the Switch 1, right? If you follow my channel, if you've been following my channel since day one, you know that I love my Nintendo Switch 1. My Nintendo Switch is honestly one of my favorite consoles ever, over PlayStation 4 and all the other consoles. It's definitely one of my favorite consoles ever. And the reason why I really love this device, even though it's not the most powerful device, is because of the hybridness. It is, till this day, the best hybrid console, period. That's the way it's been since day one, and that's the way it is today. And what I wanted from a new Nintendo Switch 2 or from the successor was the same thing, but more powerful, bigger screen, basically a better performance, especially when it was in handheld mode. Okay, especially when it was in handheld mode. And that's where the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out. Now, one thing to clarify, a lot of people saying that this is the Switch Pro. In a way, technically, it could be the Switch Pro that we always been wanting. The only thing that for me, it doesn't make it the Switch Pro is because Nintendo Switch 2 games are not going to be playable on the Switch 1. If they were playable, right, on the Switch 1, like Mario Kart World was playable on the Switch 1, then I would definitely say, yes, it is a Nintendo Switch Pro. But that's the only reason why it's not a Pro. But when it comes to everything else, it does feel like a Pro. When it comes to the upgraded screen, bigger size, of course, I love the fact that it's a 7.9 LCD screen, 1080p HDR, VRR, also capable of 120 hertz in handheld mode. That is pretty damn impressive, and that honestly is what I can wish for. That's something that I really like, that we get that actual performance in a handheld device. That is freaking awesome. Also, the great thing about this device is that thanks to the power, the combination of the CPU, the GPU, and the 12 gigabytes of RAM, that right there is very awesome. Makes this console a lot better and a lot more capable than the Switch 1 was. It is so good that a lot of the Nintendo Switch 1 games that were like basically unplayable on the Switch 1 run a lot better on the Switch 2, even without a Nintendo Switch 2 update, which is badass. I did a couple videos already for old games on the Switch 1 and tried a lot of other games that I didn't put on the video, and they do run a lot better and they look a lot more smoother because of the extra RAM. Like WWE 2K18 runs a lot better. I did play a little bit of Resident Evil 6, which was like almost unplayable as well, and it is way more beautiful and runs a lot better. So it is very good. I love the power that you're getting in a handheld mode, and that for me is it's a seller. It sells me. You know, I automatically want to buy a device like that. So thanks to the power of this device, I'm obviously hoping that we get better ports in the future. Right now, remember, we're just a week in for the release, so I don't know what the future is going to bring for the Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes to ports. Hopefully that gets a lot better than it was on the Switch 1. Now, of course, when it comes to TV mode, it is also a lot better. You're capable of running games at 4K 60 FPS in dock mode. You can also run games at 1080p 120 hertz in dock mode. I just did a video yesterday where I share with you guys the first time I'm actually trying this in TV mode, and I was actually playing Street Fighter 6 in 1080p 120 hertz in my living room TV, 65-inch monitor or TV. I was shocked that this was coming from a Nintendo Switch device in TV mode. Yeah, it sounds surprising for a lot of people that have like PlayStation 5s and Xboxes, but for a Nintendo device right now to be capable of that, I think that's pretty damn impressive. But of course, I am not a TV mode gaming guy. I barely use the TV mode at all. Just yesterday, that's when I started playing games on the TV just to try it out. Other than that, I'm always 100% or 95% mobile gamer. Now, the Joy-Cons are also pretty damn good. You know, I like that the Joy-Cons are bigger, right? They're bigger. They feel good. This time around, the only big feature that we got here with the Joy-Cons is that now they come with this, right? That you can put this here, right? And it turns the Joy-Cons into mouses. And you don't really need this, but it is recommended to actually use this because if you're going to use it a lot, you might damage something here. You don't want to damage there depending on the surface you're actually playing on. But it is recommended to actually use this, and I think definitely feels a lot more better when you use that. And I love the fact that, you know, I was going to put it with these on. It automatically switches to mouse mode without having to press any settings or whatsoever. That's very, very impressive. And of course, thanks to the magnetic, the way they attach, in my opinion, they do feel a lot more solid with the Joy-Cons on the Switch one. I think for me, this connection here feels a lot more solid than this right here, than the sliding. But I don't know. I never also I wasn't one of those people that complained about how the Nintendo Switch felt in my hands, because I guess I was lucky. You know, I guess I was lucky because I was always having a good experience with the Nintendo Switch 1. But right now, as I'm rattling this, I can actually feel that the Joy-Cons and the console are like a little bit wiggling a little bit more. And maybe that's because I'll be using that for a whole week. And you definitely, these Joy-Cons with the system on, it feels like a whole system. It doesn't feel like a system that has Joy-Cons. So for me, I like how the Joy-Cons feel. The kickstand also, I'm surprised. In picture and videos, I honestly thought that this is going to be a little bit more flimsy, a little bit more fragile, but they are very good quality. This is a very good quality kickstand, and it goes all the way like that, almost flat. So it has a very good angle positioning, especially if you have like watching videos on YouTube and Netflix and all that. But think about it, a week later, we still don't have the YouTube app. The YouTube app, I did install the app, but when I tried to launch the app, it says that couldn't start this software, visit the Nintendo support website. So yeah, the Nintendo Switch app, which I used to use a lot on the Nintendo Switch, doesn't work yet. I believe the Netflix application doesn't work as well. So, you know, we're still a weekend. We need these things to actually get updated. Once they get updated, then I can actually share my opinions about media apps. But when it comes to media apps, it's kind of weird that a console in 2025 doesn't have that from the get-go. For me, that's freaking weird. Another thing about this device that I like is that the memory card that you put inside here is actually faster than before. That's why a lot of games are actually going to run also better if you put it on the SD card as well. And they're not going to run better, but they should run better than before. The only bad thing about these cards is that they are freaking expensive. They are really, really expensive unless you buy the one that I bought. I bought the card from Walmart, and it was actually this brand, the On brand. This is Walmart's brand. Like you see here, this is the Nintendo Switch 2 compatible card. Make sure you always, if you're gonna get a card, make sure it's actually Express card. Don't get the Extreme, because a lot of people are getting confused with the Extreme. It's the Express card. It's way more expensive, and so far, like you see here, over a week, that card right there was a 512 gigabytes. Right now, I still got available 143 gigabytes in the external card, which was 512, 143 save. And in the internal, I still haven't used any storage whatsoever. I think a little bit there only. And I have installed a lot of games. A lot of these games are also getting really big, like Street Fighter is 49.1, Mortal Kombat 1, 42.2, which is a Nintendo Switch 1 game, Fortnite 37.8, Doom Eternal 33. These are Nintendo Switch games, not Switch 2, Switch games. And look at that, they're actually occupying most of the space here on the Nintendo Switch. So right now, the only game that I have big here on the Nintendo Switch 2 is Street Fighter. That's the only Nintendo Switch 2 game that's actually big, 49.1. Everything else is Nintendo Switch 1. This one is Switch 2, which is 12.0, Ruin Factory. What else? The Mario game doesn't occupy anything because it's just an update, 149 megabytes. So yeah, when it comes to the storage, I think it comes with 256 gigabytes. But honestly, 256 gigabytes in reality right now, 2025 compared to 2007, I think is almost the same as the 32 gigabytes back then. Games are good for now, but they're going to get bigger. And a lot of these games are actually going to get a lot bigger as they get ported here. So that storage is going to go fast. So you do need a micro SD card, so you can have a better experience and not be deleting games all the time. Another feature that actually got updated that I really use a lot is the video capture feature. A lot of people don't know, but yes, you can record gameplay when you're playing a video game. You could just press right here and press and hold, and it records gameplay, or you could go ahead and tap and it takes a photo, right? That feature actually got updated. The video quality of the gameplay that you're getting here, that you're recording, is actually it's actually 1080p. It's actually 1080p. I already made a video on how this works and how to transfer your files to your phones, which is way more easier. And I love the fact that transferring files to your smartphone so you can share it with websites and social media and all that is a lot more easier now than before. You just have to download the Nintendo application, right? And once you see this right here, you see that, you see your friends, and from here you can actually go ahead and either save your videos to your phone, or you can share the videos to anybody like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever favorite website you have, you can do that. And that's actually pretty damn good. That's a feature that Mark the Geek uses a lot, and I'm glad that the videos are actually 1080p 30 FPS before they were actually 720p 30 FPS. Now let's talk about the things that I don't like about the Nintendo Switch 2. And I think the major issue that I have with Nintendo is that they didn't give a damn with the complaints that people had towards the Nintendo Switch. They know that people complain about the Nintendo Switch being too flat. Okay, it has zero ergonomics comfort whatsoever when you compare it to the Steam Deck, when you compare it to any Windows handheld device. It has zero ergonomics comfort at all. And that's something they could have solved. They could have made their own Joy-Cons be a little bit more curvy. And I think that sucks because my hands actually started hurting like hours later after using this for a long time, because this is totally flat. There's no comfort whatsoever. So we still have to depend on third-party companies like Hori, Nixie, and all those companies to actually come to the rescue again and make these Nintendo Switch consoles a lot more comfortable than they are. But I don't get it why Nintendo couldn't do that themselves. Kind of sucks. But yes, right now with the Nintendo Switch 2, we're still at the mercy of third-party companies making the Nintendo Switch 2 more comfortable, because Nintendo definitely didn't give a damn at all. So yeah, right now, I can't wait to see what Joy-Cons we're gonna get from companies like Hori, like Nixie, and all those other companies. I can't wait for that. Also, I want to see more colors. Come on, why didn't we get more Joy-Con colors? How long is it gonna take for us to get Joy-Cons in different colors? Joy-Cons in white and red and blue. How long is it going to take? Hopefully, it's been only a week, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. But for me, I don't like consoles in black. If you've been following my channel since the PlayStation Vita days, I don't like black consoles. And as soon as we get color Joy-Cons, I can't wait to actually replace these black ones, right? The battery life is shorter than before, but honestly, I'm not going to give Nintendo too much of a criticism because of that, because I've been using handheld devices for a long time already, Windows, Steam Deck, everything. And obviously with more power, you're going to get less battery. Remember, we're still using the old battery technology from years and years. So obviously the more power you get in handheld, the less battery life you're going to get. So honestly, I've been getting around 2.5 hours of battery life, up to 4 hours of battery life. That's my situation right now. But keep in mind, I've been using this a lot. I've been switching through games a lot. I am keeping the brightness up because, you know, I want the games to look better on video. I'm turning auto brightness off. So for me, for the way that I use this, I'm getting around 2.5 hours to 3 hours battery life mostly. And depending what kind of games you're actually playing, you could get up to 5 hours of battery life. But you know, it really depends on the game. It depends on the brightness. It depends on the volume, how loud you have the system. So yeah, but I can't give Nintendo too much crap about the battery life because honestly, it's not their fault. The more power you get on a mobile device like this, the more battery life you should expect to waste. So that's one thing there. The other thing that I don't like, you know, it's not a huge thing. It's not a huge thing. But if you are one of those that like collecting physical copies of games, you know that art on the cover has always been a thing. You know, we love to collect physical games with beautiful covers and all that. And sadly, you know, it seems that we're going to get a lot of more of this. A lot of more games with game key cards, but because apparently, you know, the cards that the video games come in, the ones that come with big sizes of storage are actually more expensive than the game key cards. So the companies are electing to put their games in the key card and make you download almost the whole game. So since it's more expensive, the one with storage, they're opting more to the game key cards. So that means that we're going to see that a lot. So that means that every cover of a game with game key card is just going to be ruined with this message. Here in the bottom, you also don't get the size of the game clearly. They put it in freaking fine print, like they're trying to hide something. Man, if it's 50 gigabytes, just put it big and bold right there, just like you put everything else, you know. So it seems that they don't want you to know what size is it, because they actually eliminated the size here in the back. It doesn't make sense, right? But not a huge thing. But for those that like collecting hard covers of video games, I think it's, you know, it's a mess. Now, of course, I can't also complain that video games are in game key cards, because that's the way it has been since day one. You know, since day one, a lot of these games ported to the Nintendo Switch, they all had this message, and you couldn't actually play the game properly if you didn't download the game. So for me, that's game key card is not a big deal. The only for me that actually bothers me is that it's going to be more common. I think it's going to be more common. And the information here in the front, for me, it's just ugly as hell. Other than that, you know, there's nothing much more to complain there. For those asking, yes, I did get the Pro Controller. This is the first time I actually get the Pro Controller, because I didn't get the Pro Controller for the Nintendo Switch 1. And I decided to go ahead and pick it for the Nintendo Switch 2. And I gotta say, it's really, really good. I like it. Like that it has a button right there. Oh, talking about the game chat. Yeah, this now has the game chat feature, which is this button right here. But I haven't used it. I don't know. I just haven't used it. You could put a camera as well, but a week later, I haven't used it. The game chat feature, I haven't used it yet, so I can't give the opinions about the game chat feature, because I don't think I'm gonna be using it that much. But maybe a year from now, I could tell you that yes, I'm using it a lot. And the camera, I'm also using it a lot. But right now, a week later, I'm not using those features a lot, including the mouse feature. I'm not really using the mouse feature a lot. Now, you might be asking, is it worth getting the Nintendo Switch 2 for $450? Honestly, I say yes. The fact that this is a perfect hybrid console. You know, you can play it on the go. It looks beautiful. You connect it to the TV just by put it in the dock and just start playing on the TV with no extra steps whatsoever. And compared to what's in the market, it's very comparable when it comes to the quality that you get in handheld. So yes, I think it's totally worth it, because a lot of those consoles, handheld Windows devices, are actually over $600, $700. Some of them are like $1,000, and the performance that you get in handheld mode is very, very similar to the performance that you get here. A year from now, that's what worries me. I don't know what a year from now the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to look like, because we just went through a game fest. A lot of the games, third-party games that were announced, they were all for Xbox and PlayStation 5 and PC. I didn't see Nintendo Switch 2 logos in a lot of those. So I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping that a lot of those third-party games like Outer Worlds 2, like 007, all those cool games that we saw during the Game Fest actually come day and day with the Nintendo Switch 2. That would be nice, because if not, those consoles are still going to have an open door to dominate the gaming handheld market, because with those consoles, you're going to be able to play all the games, third-party games being announced. Whether they play good or bad, but guess what? You'll be able to play them. We can't say the same thing about the Nintendo Switch 2. I can't tell you that a year from now, you're going to be playing Assassin's Creed Shadows or, you know, any of the new games day and day with the PlayStation 5. I can't say that yet, right? But hopefully a year from now, I can tell you, oh man, yeah, so we're getting all the games day one as PlayStation, as Xbox on the Switch 2. If that happens, a year from now, we're in that situation where all the games are day and day with the Switch. I'd say this is the perfect console. You know, this is the perfect console, perfect price, and all that. But right now, as it is, I can't say that. You know, I can't say that because we're not clear yet on what games are going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch when it comes to third-party developers. Of course, Nintendo Switch exclusive games will always look beautiful on the Nintendo Switch too. Obviously, that's going to happen. But yeah, my only concern for me when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 is the support from third-party games. You know, those games that we will definitely be able to play on the ROG Ally X. We're definitely going to be able to play those games there. Are we going to be able to play those games here? I don't know. A week from release, I can't tell you yes, that's going to happen. So other than that, guys, thanks for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about my opinions about the Nintendo Switch 2. And let me know in the comments what you think about the Nintendo Switch 2. What are you liking about it? What you're not liking about it? And what would you like to see in the future coming to the Nintendo Switch 2? Thanks for watching this video. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.